Hi everyone, welcome back to Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Today's video is all about Into the Dark by Fiona Cummins. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name's Alice and I have way too many books, and one of those way too many books is the book I'm going to be talking about today. This was the book that I was sent for my Crime Syndicate book subscription from Mr. B's Book Emporium. My book for February was Into the Dark by Fiona Cummins, and I read this one almost straight away as a buddy read with the lovely Jennifer from Jennifer Loves Books, and this was a wild ride. I really enjoyed this. I thought we would do a little review of this thriller today. No spoilers, because there's nothing worse than spoilers in thriller reviews. So yes, this is a dark and twisty thriller focusing on two families really, and also on a really dark and twisty police officer, also a really interesting forensic linguist, which is a job title I had not heard of before, but I really think it's very fascinating and I'd love to read more books with characters in that profession. But first things first, Into the Dark by Fiona Cummins was first published in 2022, and this paperback edition was published in 2023. Ian Rankin has blurbed this on the front as breathless plotting and twist after twist, and I would say that's highly accurate, so well blurbed, Ian Rankin. This book does two things really. We have a kind of really twisted missing family drama storyline. It's very dramatic, I will say from the outset. This book also introduces Detective Saul Anguish, who is a really interesting character, and it focuses in quite a lot of depth on a friendship between two women. So we open the book with one of these two women, Julianne, arriving for her weekly run with her friend Piper, and Piper and her entire family have vanished from their house. And these are families that are wealthy and live in Essex in the UK. So good things about this book. I really enjoyed that it was really fast paced and there was a lot of drama, a lot of sort of twists and turns and reveals, and never a dull moment really. All of the characters we were following I found interesting. Their stories were so interesting. Like we had the detective, as I say, and the forensic linguist, and they sort of had their own personal storylines and personal problems, as well as the case that they were dealing with, which was this case of the missing family. The past of all of the characters is gone into in this book, and this was my first experience of reading Fiona Cummins, and I will definitely be seeking out more straight away. I think Jennifer, who I was reading this with, had read a couple before, and I think that there are a couple that are sort of vaguely mentioned in this book from previous cases. So although this is not in a series, it does make mention of some cases from another book, I believe. On to a couple of things that I had a small niggle with. The first one is the names of people in this book. I'm probably making too big a deal here, but there were some really strange names. Saul is the detective, and like his name's Saul Anguish, so that is obviously quite a interesting name. The forensic linguist's name is Dr. Clover March, which I thought was again pretty unusual. But the most unusual of all is that Julianne's husband is called Quiller. I've never met a Quiller in my life, but do let me know in the comments if I'm just being strange about these names. I just thought that the author had definitely gone for incredibly unusual names, and to find that many incredibly unusual names in one book I found a bit weird at times. But I mean, that really was my biggest complaint about the book. I enjoyed every other element of it, I would say. I don't think this book is for you if you don't love fast-paced, twisty thrillers. At times you do have to kind of suspend disbelief a little bit. It is sort of borderline too dramatic, but not for me. I loved it. I loved every dramatic moment. There are times when this is absolutely crazy and I was there for it. I'm definitely going to go away and try more Fiona Cummins. I highly, highly recommend Into the Dark, and I'm really glad I discovered this new to me author through this book subscription. So in these book review videos, I do like to give you a couple of recommendations of books that I think you might enjoy if you've already enjoyed Into the Dark by Fiona Cummins. And if you've maybe read all of Fiona Cummins' books, these might be places that you could go next. I'm going to go to more Fiona Cummins next. So one of them is the author Elly Griffiths, and the book here that I would recommend would be, I think this actually started out as a standalone, so this is The Stranger Diaries, and I believe there is now a second book in this series, or with the same detective, and I think that's called The Postscript Murders. This one had another sort of domestic drama at the heart of it, but I also believe it did introduce a detective. I really liked the way this one in particular was done. If you prefer a series, Elly Griffiths does have two very different sort of mystery series, and one of those is the Ruth Galloway series, which I've mentioned before on this channel, and that starts with The Crossing Places, but that is really for if you would prefer to start quite a long series. But I do also love the detective character in that. And Ruth is a forensic archaeologist, so yeah, interesting professions in those ones as well. Stranger Diaries involves sort of secrets, lies, and a killer, and I highly recommend this one. The second book that I would recommend, I've definitely recommended before in a book review, and I have a whole review of this one, and that's The Unheard by Nicci French. I think Nicci French is always quite twisty, and there are some darker elements, but I would say that these are probably slightly lighter than Into the Dark, but that's not to say that they are light. So this one in particular, although there are many excellent Nicci French standalones, this one is about a mother called Tess and her daughter Poppy, and Poppy has drawn a bit of a strange picture that kind of suggests she may have seen a murder. As anyone with a 2 or 3 year old will know, it's incredibly difficult to get to the bottom of. Tess is incredibly worried about her daughter, and yeah, the plot develops from there. With Nicci French, I absolutely love their sort of the way they contrast domestic everyday life and life going on as normal with the central drama. So yeah, highly dramatic, and I really, really enjoyed this offering from the husband and wife writing team at Nicci French, and I think you would as well if you liked Fiona Cummins. So that brings us to the end of the review. I really did like Into the Dark by Fiona Cummins, as you can tell. Very close to being a 5-star thriller, and I almost never rate a thriller a full 5 stars, and I highly recommend it to all you twisty thriller lovers on my channel. There are very dark elements in this. I think if you like a blend of sort of family drama, crime, and really, really flawed detectives, then I think you would like this. Yeah, do let me know in the comments, have you read any of Fiona Cummins' books, and have you read Into the Dark? If you have, do let me know what you thought. I would love to hear. Please do give this video a like if you have enjoyed it, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I will hope very much to see you all again soon for another video all about books here on Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Bye for now.